This is going to be the last sermon I do on spiritual formation, so if you're not formed by now, it's all over. Now, all of our sermons are online and can be accessed through our website, which, if you don't know what it is, I'll tell you if you ask me. But, and by the way, I should throw in a plug for David, who has maintained our website. Thanks, David. And I wish I could plug everybody who does all kinds of cool things for us. Dave does music. Anyway, I could go on and on. But you all know. Yes, only 9 days left. I love it. Okay. Anyway, today. So as I was saying, today's our last sermon on spiritual formation, and the idea of this whole series has been to try to, give you some intentionality about growing your spiritual life. And I want to remind you once more, if I haven't said it often enough, that in a certain sense, all of this spiritual formation stuff, none of it's for you. It's all for everybody else. A lot of times, think about the analogy of going to the gym. You go to the gym and you put in your time, however many hours a week. And what are you trying to do? You're trying to get six-pack abs or whatever the heck you're trying to do. I don't know. Buns of steel, things like that. I don't know. But the point is that, why do you do a thing like that? Well, for yourself, right? Your health improves, maybe. You look better so you can be more attractive to whoever you want to attract. That kind of thing, right? And it's all kind of for you. But spiritual formation is not like that. Spiritual formation is, well, in a way it is. I guess you could say, you make your body look better so you can please the opposite sex or someone. Well, in a way, when you make your spirit better, when you conform your spirit to Christ, you're pleasing God. You're pleasing your fellow Christians who are saying, what a great person Lewis is. I mean, I can see the growth, I can see he's grown so much. But that's not really why you're doing it. You're not doing it to make everybody think how great you are. You're doing it because you want to be a better servant of God in your situation. You want to be the kind of person who, when people look at, they don't think, well, I've got to be careful around this person because, he could blow up. He's like a powder keg. Or I've got to walk on eggshells here because somebody might get their feelings hurt, or, all of this kind of stuff. We don't want to be that kind of person. We want to be strong. We want to be the kind of people that can stand up for God in difficult situations. And obviously, I say we. I mean me. I want to be the kind of person that when the pressure comes, I don't fall over. Like an overloaded web server falling over when you get too many hits, right? I don't want to be like that. I want to be the kind of web server that can take 10,000 hits a second, or whatever the thing is. Just, to use that analogy. I don't want to fall over. We don't want to fall over. We want to be strong for God. So that's the whole point of all of this spiritual formation stuff. To help us be strong, to be good to one another, to be good for God in our given situation, so that God, to be vessels fit for noble use, as Peter puts it, I think. He says, be fit for noble use, so that God can use you for noble things. We want to be that kind of person. And the spiritual formation stuff that I've been presenting all along here is for that purpose. To help you be fit vessels for noble use. Yeah, you're saved by grace, through faith, not of works. Right? None of that, you're not, this is, in a way you could say, this is not about salvation per se. But it's about working out your salvation, walking worthy of your salvation. It's about doing the good works that God created in advance for us, that we should walk in them. Finding who God intended you to be. Becoming fit to be who God intended you to be. God loves you if you don't do any of this stuff. He's still with you. He's still on your side. But you will be, like I used an analogy once of a car, stripped down, not even a radio, 3-speed manual transmission, It's a very boring car, uninteresting. Your Christian life will be boring and uninteresting. You'll kind of squeak by, but it won't be fun. The fun is in the spiritual formation. Because then you start becoming fit for God to use in difficult situations. And the fun is in the difficulty. Yeah. Doesn't seem like fun when you're in it, right? No, you want to be a Jeremy Lin who gets off the bench into the game. You're not fit to get off the bench. Okay, well that's your choice, right? So we're talking spiritual formation here as making yourself fit to be used by God. So it's not for you per se, it's for God, it's for one another. But then you'll enjoy it a lot more. You'll enjoy your Christian life a lot more if you are being conformed to the image of Christ. Okay? I hope everybody gets that distinction. It's important. The purpose is not to make you feel guilty and think, oh, there's so much I'm not doing, so much God is demanding of me that I'm not giving Him. Don't want you to feel that way at all. These are openings, opportunities, options. I like to call them options. They're the things you pay extra for, right? They're the things you put yourself into. You devote yourself to God. You give yourself over to God. And as you do so, these things open up. Okay? I hope that makes sense. All right, so today we're talking about celebration. And I wanted to end on a high note. But in a way, it's really ironic to think of celebration, or there's a whole bunch of words in the Bible that I've kind of glommed together under the rubric of celebration. Rejoice, be glad, make merry. There are a couple of others. I had a whole list of them this morning. Okay. No, I didn't put the list down. But let's take a look at exult. Exalt's another one, okay? All of these things. Now, it's ironic that in the Bible, it has to tell us to do these things. It's kind of like saying, okay, James, I want you to feel good today. You really ought to feel good today. Okay? Make sure you feel good today. Now James is probably saying, well, I'm all for that, right? I mean, you're not. I'm not laying something on you that you're not happy about, right? James, feel good today. How do you feel about that? Yeah, right? Yeah. Maybe. No. But you see, in a way, it's like I say, it's ironic that we even have to be told to rejoice. And why does God tell us that? I believe God tells us that because, it's fun to be mad. It's fun to wallow in self-pity. I mean, it's not fun in a fun way. It's fun in a kind of nasty, icky way, but it's still fun. It's still fun to sit around all day thinking, oh, poor me, everyone's against me. Everyone hates me. Everyone is mistreating me. And we think, oh yeah, and then we start feeling good about it. Except it's not really good. I don't know exactly what to call it, We start feeling some kind of perverse pleasure out of feeling bad. And we don't want to let go of it. We don't want to stop. I remember one time, it was my daughter, I tell this story about my daughter. She was playing piano, and she was having a tough time, and she was just going on and on and on about, and I said sharply, and I feel kind of bad about it now, I said sharply to her, Eleanor, and she went like that, and I said, snap out of it. And she did. And she actually thanked me, because she realized that she realized that she had been just wallowing in her own self-pity, you know. Now, I wouldn't ordinarily, it's kind of like, you know, and you know, you guys go, bam, bam. And he says, thanks, I needed that, you know. And that's ordinarily, we don't want to do that. But there's a sense in which sometimes we're just caught in it, and someone has to go, hey, hey, you know, what are you doing, you know? And that's what God is doing here. He's saying to us, you're wallowing in self-pity. You're feeding, you're consuming your own flesh in resentment, you know. You're chewing on your own heart because it feels terrible, but it also feels good, you know. And God says, why are you doing that? Don't do that. I don't want you to do that. I want you to rejoice. Let's look at some of the passages in the Bible. You know, I was looking through the Bible, and I was saying, man, there is so many passages on rejoicing, being glad, singing for joy, you know, all of these different, exulting. It's over and over again. The Psalms are full of it. You can hardly open to a single psalm that doesn't say rejoice in there or something like that. You know, and a lot of people, again, there's a sort of irony about Christianity. People think of us Christians as joyless and unhappy, and God is a mighty oppressor who just kind of battens on us, and anybody's having any fun, God makes us stop. Because God's that way, you know. And the passage I read you from Job there, I hope that you will start to think, maybe God is not really like that. Maybe you already know that God's not really like that. Behind it all, there's joy. Another psalm says, which I didn't put here, which I should have, he says, at your right hand is fullness of joy. I got it backward. In your presence, there are pleasures forevermore. This is God. God is all about joy and pleasure. You know? So that's where he's aiming us. And the irony, like I said, you know, does the word drama ever come up when you're talking to people? Man, there's so much drama in my life.